At the outset, I thank the organizer for giving me this opportunity to share some point of view on the coastal reservoirs, which will be a new era solutions for water woes. I am also the Vice Chairman of India Chapter, International Association of Coastal Reservoir Research, that is instituted in University of Wollongong, Australia, to solve the world's water problems. So I am also one of the founding committee members of that association. To give you a brief perspective, the populations in this 20th century has grown almost three-folds compared to the previous centuries. And so the use of the renewable resources have grown also about six-folds. And today, currently, the database shows that about 1.8 billion people are living in regions or countries which has an outright scarcity for water. And I don't think any one of us will deny that with this huge population explosion, the industrialization, urbanizations also leads to greater demand for water. We could look at the reports that has been presented by so many of them. The World Bank study says the climate change to hit living standards of 600 million Indians. The water-stressed India may not be able to meet its future demand. As liquid as it gets, water scarce in 566 villages, and this is praying water for Bangalore. When we had recent crisis, there was some media present in China. Water reservoirs run dry, water is running out, 21 cities run out of within a year, and this may also come. There's some cartoons coming out. So we cannot deny there is a serious dearth of water. This is the Niti Ayog source. You say by 2040, there will be no drinking water in almost all parts of the India. So how do we survive? Maybe we can get over these generations. What about to the future generations and the next generations to come? And this is not a problem with India. This is a global problem, worldwide problems, and this can also lead to a global crisis. If at all there is going to be a world war in the future, it will be only for the water. And we can live without technology. I think we cannot live without water. Even for us, one day we don't have water in our house, then we know how the music would be at the early morning hours. And so in developing countries, the people travel kilometers together, kilometers to bring some waters. The United Nations has statistics that on average 18 kilograms of water is carried at 6 kilometers distance. So every drop counts, and you see the people welcoming river waters, and such a precious natural resource is very much necessary for us. So this drinking water as a substance to transformations, if the lack of water leads to disease, lack of education, poverty, but access to safe drinking water, gender equality, education, population, so it will also improve the lifestyle of the people and the standard of living. Now this is the projected water demand from the government of India. If you look at in 2050, 1,400 billion cubic meter of water, and other sources says about 1,180 billion cubic meter of water. The last 100 years database, if you look at the Central Water Commission's data, India has a rainfall about 1,100 millimeters of rain, which translates into about 4,000 billion cubic meter of water. So the precipitations has not changed for the last 100 years. There are west flowing rivers, there are east flowing rivers, and these precipitations has been discharged to the oceans as flood waters. More than 50% of water that has been precipitated to the country has been released as flood waters to the ocean, and we don't have the storage facility. So how to compound this water problem? The sources and options left are the inland reservoirs, the dams, the interlinking of rivers, groundwater, desalination plants, wastewater reuse facilities. I'll just touch upon very briefly of each one of them. And the new concept is this coastal reservoirs. If you can impound these waste flood waters joining the ocean, just about a few percentage of that, about 4 to 5%, that can solve the water problem for the future. This is the annual rainfall data from the Central Water Commission's 1,176 millimeters of rain. Inland dams, you look at the statistics, last 100 years, 1900 and so on, number of dams built between 1960 to 1990. After that, there's no large dams being built. Sardar Sarovar Dam has taken more than my age to build that. And the challenge in building these inland dams will be your environmental clearance, forest clearance, displacement of people. You have to design the dams to water pressures and seismic vulnerability, etc., etc. And therefore, there is no large dams built after 2010 and no more large dams anywhere in the world. And US has decommissioned about 800 dams already, which has been built. And the siltation of these dams also limits its life of about 100 years. So 1% every year, so 100 years, the siltation also limits the life of this. As I said, the rainfall precipitations has been the same, but the rainfall pattern have changed. And India has built around 5,000 large dams, more than 15 meters high. Some of them, more than 30-40%, don't have waters because of the climatic conditions. The rainfall pattern has changed, and those catchment areas don't get the rains. And India being a monsoon of only 4 months in a year, between maybe July to September, within that also 1 month you will have a torrential rain. So there is a lot of floods in one part, there is a drought in the other parts. So this geographical and time variance in the rainfall, the pattern, has also stressed the water needs, because the water needs is constant throughout the year, and what is availability is only for a few months at certain parts of the country. Dams are the temples of modern India, as said by our Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister. Now, India is a country of rivers. There are perennial rivers and other rivers, 7 major rivers, and we are the 3rd largest dam country in the world, nearly 5,000 dams next to US and China. So what the alternative is a coastal reservoir. So it is a subsurface dike inside the oceans. By definition, the coastal reservoir is a water storage in a large water body where inside and outside waters are different in physical, chemical, biological parameters. Simply a freshwater reservoir inside the seawater. And this is a typical aerial view of this water. The rivers flowing here, and then you can have a soft barriers, fresh water, the brackish water, and the barriers now, the technology is immense technology. You have so much of materials available to have, you don't need concrete dams, you can have a flexible separations. Only you all need to do is an impervious membrane between the fresh water and the seawater. Some typical cross sections. All-in-one disaster resistance. These coastal reservoirs, the river flowing, can have some gates to cater your environmental typhoons and tsunamis. The earthquake proof, and even if the earthquakes are there, it doesn't matter. You can also have the soft dams to have a barrier inside these coastal reservoirs, and these soft dams also will economize the designs. And this is a patented technology from one of the Australian professors to put these soft dams. Now the difference between the on-land and the reservoir, as you can see here, the listing of this table, the dam site is in the oceans, and the on-land it will be in the valley. More importantly, the environmental damage is very high for the on-land reservoir, but the coastal reservoir has no environmental, no land acquisition. Water supply will be by pumping, so that will be a cost, and the on-land reservoir will be by gravity. The construction costs are very low, and the inland dams are very high. So I was involved in the feasibility study of a Netravati river joining Mangalore to build this coastal reservoir to solve the water problem of Mangalore and Bangalore. Even in fact, I am also one of the victim of water shortage. I live outskirts of Bangalore, so we don't have the municipal water. We buy from the tankers, is hard waters. So I take showers, you see my hair is white, so I am not so old to be that. And all your fittings you put in the bathrooms are all gone for 1-2 years. Things so. The advantage of the sea-based reservoirs, no harm to the river basins, no disturbance for any forest covers, submergence of land is not there, physical displacement of people is not there, agriculture activity can be augmented, erosions can be minimized, groundwater recharge due to fresh water in the estuarine areas, and freshwater dredging will provide sand for constructions. And also, it is an earthquake-resistant seawalls, solar and tidal energy can be augmented, roadways over the seawall, freshwater fishings can be developed, navigation and tourism opportunities are there, real estates will go very high, length and width of seawall serves as a deep water fishing harbor, benefit the fishing community. There will be an increase in the industrial recreation and fisheries activities around these freshwaters. In fact, the populations of the country, about 40% will live in the coastal cities, and the development of coastal regions is going to happen with the construction of coastal reservoirs. It can be a smart coastal cities, and you see the economic growth. Without water, there is no fun in having economic growth, because the thirst also keeps increasing, so you need water. So is this coastal reservoirs built anywhere? Netherlands in the early 30s have built this coastal reservoir. There is a Tannirmukkam Bund in Kerala that was built in 1974. They had some issues because of some operational challenges. South Korea has two coastal reservoirs. Hong Kong, in the early 60s, they were used to have water rationing in Hong Kong. After they built this coastal reservoirs since 1982, there is no water rationing. Desalination plant has been decommissioned in Hong Kong today. China has built 3 coastal reservoirs. One of them is the Kinchoza coastal reservoirs, which is catering for 15 million population of the Shanghai city as a freshwater. I had an opportunity to visit that last year. Singapore, the Marina Barrage in Singapore is again a freshwater coastal reservoir, which is also catering part of the Singapore's water requirements. Cardiff Bay is built in Kingdom, so I'll just quickly go through these, some of them. Netherlands, and this is the freshwater in Hong Kong. So I said there was no water rationing, and desalination plant commissioned in 1975 was also decommissioned. And these are the 3 reservoirs that was built in Hong Kong. And the Marina Barrage is very nice. Tidal gates have been provided, fresh water and the sea water during high tide and during low tides. And this also has won many awards both nationally and internationally in Singapore. This is in Korea. Kinchoza reservoir in Shanghai. Now there are some in the planning stage. Pluie reservoir in Jakarta, Kalpasar project in Gulf of Khambat in Gujarat, Sydney and other coastal cities of Australia. They are very aggressively pursuing to build the coastal reservoirs in Australia as well. New York and the Netravati River in Bangalore for Bangalore Water Supply and Sewage Board. In the current Indian scenario, rainfall has 1,100 millimeters. India has built more than 5,000 large dams, which is third in the country. Freshwater shortage, 54% of India faces high to extremely high water stress. Tannirmukkam Dam is a barrage in Kerala. And this is the Gulf of Khambat. They're going to build a dam here. And the distance between these two things, otherwise they have to go around this one, is almost reduced by more than 200 kilometers. The development plan to supply for the entire state. We had this feasibility study for Bangalore Water Supply Sewage Boards, which was carried out by the Indian Institute of Science. Professor Sitaram was the principal investigator. There were so many people involved. I had a small contributions on the foundation part for that project. And this is where the Netravati will join the ocean. And we had, I had some work done earlier on ADB funded projects to the coastal protections, and the same data was used to verify the feasibility of the coastal reservoir in the region. And this is the dam, the red color one. Enough water was available in this study. Water required for Bangalore and Mangalore has already been met. Water quality was good. Proposed reservoir is safe from natural hazards. This will enhance the overall cost of livelihoods. Cost effective, yes. And you could see an attractive, clean and beautiful Mangalore waterfront city in future with proposed coastal reservoirs. And those neglected coastal cities, if the coastal reservoirs are built, will flourish in the future. And this was the first international workshop we conducted in Amrita University, Coimbatore, where we invited the government of Karnataka and Water Supply Board. We handed over this feasibility report, which was almost a 400-page report, as a large team of 50 people involved in to develop this. Now, with this concept, the coastal reservoir can also be built because India has 7,000 kilometers of coastline, and build these coastal reservoirs across each state connected by the mean sea level. This is patented by Professor Sitaram as Sagar Mala. In Sanskrit, Sagar is freshwater pond, Mala is a garland, and if we can do this, I think we do not have any water problem for the future. And if we don't take action now, probably our generations can get over. For the next generations, will be. Okay, desalination has its own. No, not required. So desalination is not environmental friendly. So the post treatment, if you want to discharge it into the oceans, that will be 10 times more salt content will have. It has the operational cost, it has the maintenance cost. No, cost is very high. So only Tamil Nadu and Gujarat has the desalination plants. Sir, I don't hold any positions in the government. I am a private citizen. I don't have access to bureaucracy or politics. I thank Dr. Anil Garg to give me an opportunity to share some point of view. I think the stakeholders who are listening should act now and take this forward. So the river basins considered for the Sagar Mala is the 7 rivers in different states. And similar coastal reserve is planned in Malaysia because we commissioned this International Association of Coastal Reservoirs. So our colleagues in Malaysia is taking up very aggressively to plan across the coastal state of Malaysia. And also the government of Malaysia has recently developed a policy that they will not build large dams anymore. And they are advocating to build these coastal reservoirs. And the water problem is not only for our country, a developing country. You see in Australia, there is a crisis there, a hue and cry for water, even in Australia. So this is desalination. Cost is very high. The highest per kiloliter of water is around $1, 60, 70 rupees. If you build a coastal reservoir, including the pumping, so we did in feasibility in Bangalore, which cost about 35 rupees. Today also we are paying 30 rupees plus sanitation charges. So it will be the same one. And access to water, plenty of abundant water will be there for future. Recycled water is not as sustainable for the meeting the demand of future 2050 is not possible. Cost-wise is not viable. Pollution, cost-wise is not there. This coastal reservoirs also generates revenue for the government with a low cost. The natural resources to the people, government will also have the revenue generated things. So in summary, the International Association of Coastal Reservoir recognizes that world is not running out of water, but water is running out of our river mouth. So India is not having dearth of water, but we have a dearth of storage facilities. The water dominates every policy and other sustainable development goals. United Nations has 17 sustainable goals where access to safe water is one of them. Coastal reservoir provides a solution for food, water, energy nexus, and water can quench disputations to promote peace and harmony. I'm sure none of you will disagree with me on that. I welcome all of you to be member of this International Association of Coastal Reservoir Research, iacrr.org. Lastly, we have the first World Congress coming up in 2020, October at Hanoi. So kindly make yourselves present and attend this. There will be a lot of brainstorming sessions on this coastal reservoirs. And also we talk about the energy security, food security, and water security is also being talked about. And that's it from me. I think it's because we have been given very less time. So thank you very much, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. From?
Once the reservoir is full.
Yeah.
Because Once the surplus discharge,
So what happened, this coastal reserve, you don't need large storage, it's only around 3% to 4%. You can calculate the required quantity volume of water. You can put in the designs your gates value, gates in the dam itself, and you can allow this fresh water to the storage. Once it is completely, you can allow it to go to the ocean. In the low tide and high tide also the glades can vary, and then if you need more water, you pump once, and then because 4 months you have the monsoon, and Bangalore we had the feasibility study around 10 TMC of water storage is good enough. One time you pump in the second storage also will happen. No, it's filling up is very fast. Within the 3 months it is going to get filled up. And whatever the excess water you cannot store, you can just have to let it go.
that the technology for allowing the spillway, how that is, if you have any,
The site specific, it has to be site specific, sir. It has to be site specific, yes.
Yeah, my question is on this high tide and low tide, especially on the Arabian Sea, your coast from Kanyakumari to maybe Gujarat up. There is the CD, the chart datum varies pretty large, whereas Bay of Bengal it is quite, from the Chennai and towards Calcutta it is quite stable that way, not much of a difference. How does this coastal reservoir, the design of that affect in terms of the variation in the
Only the
CD?
height of the dam.
But
and
how
also the
do you
gates.
fix the height?
Maximum around 15 meter, 10 meters, 15 meters only. You don't need large heights. Only during high tide and light tides you put a gate. No, Marina Barrage, Singapore has put the gates is around 9 meters high. They have 9 gates are there. So that now today technology are there. It has to be design site specific. We are not looked into the design aspect yet in the country today.
What about the bottom?
Bottom is just an impermeable layer. You put a sheet there, nothing is there, put a random rubble.
In the form of L shape, right?
Is an L shape, yes, from a L shape. So you'll have a fresh water, sea water separation. It's a pure separation. If you put a soft dam, I think even that also you don't need a 100% impervious because the soft dam will take care of it. Sir, I think the question we can take, I need to give time for other speakers also. Yes,
What
last.
about the back pressure when this reservoir becomes empty? The back pressure from the sea.
It cannot, it will be always stored with water. It cannot be empty, sir.
Cannot be empty.
Yes.
How do you meet the
You,
peak demand?
so only the monsoon period you will have to take it out, and if you want to design that for empty conditions, then you need to design that wall for getting the water pressure from that side. Then it's not sustainable again. Thanks. So thank you very much, sir. I need to give time to my other speakers. Thank you very much.